Gentlemen, welcome to this meeting of the City of Tyler Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. We're happy to have all our citizens and friends and interested persons come to these meetings, which are open to the public. First order of business is to call the roll. Marina?
Yes, sir. Carlene Darkbays.
Present.
Clint Childs.
Present.
Philip Humber.
Present.
Christina Davis.
Present.
Michael Carmichael.
Present.
Roy Martinez.
Present.
David Hudson.
President, we have a full quorum, a full Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission makes recommendations to the City Council. Any item approved today will be heard by the City Council at its regular meeting on Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, commencing at 9 a.m. If you received a notice for this meeting, you've also received a notice for the City Council meeting. If any item is denied, the applicant has 10 calendar days to file a written appeal with the Planning Department. The appeal will then be acted upon by the City Council. If you're to speak for or against an item, please state your name and address for the record. Comments should be limited to 5 minutes or less, although extensions of time may be granted by the chair upon request. At the conclusion of this meeting, the commission will have a workshop to plan for our next month's meeting, and that meeting will be held across the street in the Planning Development Center at 423 West Ferguson in the large conference room. And that meeting, like all of our meetings, is open to the public. The next order of business is minutes from our last meeting. Have commissioners had an opportunity to review those? Any changes, questions, deletions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes from the prior meeting.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve those minutes. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The first zoning item well, let me stop for just a minute. We have a room full of people, which is great. We want everybody to participate. We're going through the items in the order that they were posted, and some of you may end up being here longer than others, but that's we'll move as quickly as we can, giving everybody an opportunity to speak and be involved. The first item is Z25-012, Jamie J. Boyd, 9451 and 9456 St. Patrick Place. Anna?
Good afternoon, commissioners and everybody present today. This request is for a zone change on an agricultural district to a neighborhood residential district. It is located south of the intersection of Ulster Street and St. Patrick's Place. The applicant is requesting the zone change to develop a 42-unit detached housing development. The adjacent properties to the north and west are zoned R1A, single-family residential district, and are developed with single-family homes or undeveloped. The adjacent properties to the east and south are zoned agricultural district and are undeveloped. The future land use would be amended from mixed-use center to single-family and single-family attached. The NR zoning allows for a maximum of 10 dwelling units per acre. The applicant is requesting the zone change to develop a 42-unit detached housing development on a single lot for the 55-plus community. The applicant intends to provide priority to veterans for leasing. The applicant proposes 42 units at a density of 7.08 per acre. Through it, it would not be restricted to this under NR zoning. The neighborhood residential district allows a maximum density of 10 units per acre, which could allow approximately 59 units. The current zoning of agricultural district would allow of a density of 1 unit per acre on approximately 5 homes to be built currently. Of the 22 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor and 13 were returned in opposition to the request, bringing the total protest calculation to 22.17%. As written protest exceeds 20%, a favorable vote by a 3/4 majority of City Council will be required to approve this request. Staff has also received notices from neighbors outside of the 200 radius in protest of the request. The applicant held a neighborhood meeting on May 27th at the Faulkner Park Police Station, and approximately 30 neighbors attended. The opposition stated concerns about traffic safety and density. The existing subdivision has 263 lots, which require 3 or more access points. However, it currently only has 2 access points accessible to the subdivision. While the property has frontage on 1249, its only access is through the Irish Meadows neighborhood, which is developed with single-family homes on individual lots that largely exceed 12,000 square feet. The applicant has not adequately demonstrated how the proposed zoning meets the criteria for approval. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that it's generally inconsistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends denial of the request.
All right, thank you, Ann. Commissioners have questions for city staff? If not, is there someone here representing the applicant? Hey, Bob.
Afternoon. Bob Breedlove with Brandon Corporation, representing the property owner and as well as the developer. Developer's here to answer questions. We're here to answer questions as well. We do have a layout we can show you. And I'll introduce Steve. He's... You stand up to the mic. We can't hear you. Yeah, sure, sorry. Is that a little better? A little bit. I'll try to speak a little louder. We have a layout we can show you. You might be aware there's a, well, when it gets going here, we'll show you. There's a street stubbed out, St. Patrick's, stubs out into the property that we're not planning on using. We are planning on using like an access drive that was built with Loop 49 that accesses from the south part of the property. We'll try to show you here in a minute. There we go.
Let Mr. Breedlove explain. There'll be an ample opportunity for anybody who wants to speak on this to do so. Are you passing that around, Rob? Or?
I didn't really bring enough thinking we'd be able to use the overhead. One of them floating around has got an aerial photo with it that may be a little confusing, but
All right, Bob.
well, the intent was to try to minimize the access to the property. There, you can kind of see there on the aerial, there's a clearing there to the south of the property and to the west. Oops. Yeah.
Okay, who's in charge here?
Well, we can stay right there. Yeah, you can kind of see that there's an access drive there, that we're going to access the property from the south. It's true, we are going to have to come through the neighborhood to get to this neighborhood. And that was one of the big topics of discussion, along with the drainage, with the neighborhood meeting we had. But I have the developer here. He'd like to speak a little bit about the project, the intent, and then I can be happy to answer any questions y'all have. We can both answer any questions y'all have.
Great. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Steve Griffith. I'm the founder and director of a nonprofit called Lifeway Foundation. The foundation will be the one that will be administrating whatever we develop in this particular arena. We have a heart for older folks. my parents, my grandparents, I mean, everybody's got older folks in their lives, and they can kind of see the plight that they have to go through, particularly if they're single. Loneliness is the biggest issue that old folks face. We were looking for a piece of property that would be conducive for older folks to be able to have access to health care, to groceries, to basic needs like Walmart, places like that. And this was really an ideal location. It's 2-mile radius from all those things I just mentioned. But I do apologize for the angst that this has caused. I really had no idea. So I'm on a learning curve too. But anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry for the angst. So anyhow, so what this is, it's a community based on cottages. These are going to be custom-built cottages. They focal around a courtyard. They all have front porches, kind of close to one another. They all face the courtyard where we want to build an environment that's conducive for community. So we'd be like a little community within the larger community, which would be Irish Meadows. So we feel like this is a really good asset for Tyler. We've looked in other places, and this is a good fit. Tyler has a growing older community. Got some housing. Every city needs housing. I mean, that's just a given. This is Texas. We're growing. So we felt like this would be a good spot. We love nature. We love the trees. We love the park that's just a little bit to the north of there. But one thing to really kind of keep in mind is we're not profit-driven. This is more about people. So we're not trying to cram it. I mean, we're pretty far below the density that NR allows. And one reason we want to do that is because we like the trees. We like the space. We like the open spaces. It would be, think about where you live. You like your yard. You like your trees. Well, senior citizens like that too. So this is one reason we really like this spot. One thing I think that does need to be brought up is, this land is going to sell. It's in a prime location. We feel most likely it will, if we don't get it, it will be bought by a developer and probably they'll go with R1A. That's what they'll try to get. And so we just did the traffic analysis. Okay, what if we took 42 of our cottages, which are going to be single occupancy, senior citizens, and comparing that to if this was R1A with 20 homes, okay? Your single-family homes have an average of 2.5 to 3.5 residents per home. And they're going to have, I think it was 2.2 cars, where ours is going to be 0.7, the senior citizens, so not everybody has a car. We're going to also have a van, which will have 2 routes a week to help mitigate some of the traffic. Anyway, using the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which is my understanding is what most folks go through, comparing the 2 options, our little 42 cottage would actually be 35 to 38% less traffic than if it was an R1A with 20 homes. So it's actually a lower impact. And I understand that's one of the biggest concerns with us being there was the impact on the traffic, and I get it. I would be concerned too. So I guess what I'm saying is we're trying to give the best option for this piece of property outside of someone just buying it to put a park or something like that, which I think we all know that's very unlikely. Someone asked me at the meeting last time, give me a reason for us to go for this. What's going to help me? What's going to improve my property value? And I think we've all had that neighbor that's down the street or across the street that's not the good neighbor. I mean, the yard is not kept up, they got trash in their yard. I mean, that's not a good neighbor. That brings down the value of all the houses in that area. We would be a good neighbor. You know, this place is gonna be well manicured. We're gonna make sure it's good people in there. Senior citizens typically aren't your ruckus type. So, one of our board directors is gonna be living on the property, and we're gonna maintain it. Anyway, I hope that y'all will have an open mind. I hope the board, the RNZ will have an open mind towards this. So, that's all I gotta say.
And again, it's Steve
Yes, sir. Griffith.
Griffith.
Yes, sir.
Any questions for Mr. Griffith? Thank you for your time and presence here. Any questions for Mr. Breedlove?
I do have a question. The abandoned road that you can see on the aerial,
Yes, sir.
so if you follow it east, does it dead end there, or does it connect somewhere?
It is a dead end. They call it the road to nowhere. So,
All right, again, thank you for your time and
welcome.
presence. Mr. Breedlove, anything you want to add? All right,
We're
several,
happy to answer any questions that come up along the way.
sure. Several people have signed up to speak, and the first name I see is Amanda Addison. Ms. Addison, if you'd state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Amanda Addison. I live at 9358 Gaelic Hills Drive. Thank you for coming out in support, and thank you for allowing us some time to speak. I live on the street that is going to be used to get to the road to nowhere. Have lived there for 17 years. My understanding of this road to nowhere is that it was actually built when Toll 49 cut off the access to the property there. So it wasn't really ever intended on being like a road, from my understanding. Used in and out of the neighborhood. It was just a road so that people who had property back there had access to it after Toll 49 came through and kind of capped that off from them. I'm completely against this. I have children, I have small children. Our roads are very narrow. The increased traffic coming in and out, some other people here will have some better points on emergency vehicles and senior citizen living. I will applaud Mr. Griffith. I think that his plan sounds beautiful. I'm not gonna lie and say that I am against veterans or seniors. I think that this community sounds great. I just think that it's probably not the best location for it in Tyler. I understand there's land there and it is close to all of the things that he wants, but Irish Meadows already has an established neighborhood, and this would not go with the continuity of what we have. I think that if you want to change the zone, change it to an R1A, like what would match the rest of our neighborhood so that we can have the nice flow through our neighborhood. I understand he just did the analysis on the traffic and all of that, but there's other issues with using my road at the very back of the neighborhood. You know, there's Dublin. We don't have two entrances in and out of Irish Meadows. They're already very congested getting in and out safely off of 69. I'm sure if you've ever driven out there, it's like you're driving down the Audubon and then all of a sudden you got to get over and whip into the neighborhood. I know everybody here is not going to speak. Some are just here in support. But I would like to ask, if you are against it and you live in Irish Meadows, would you please raise your hand if you're against the zone change? So a lot of us are against it. I'll say the one good thing that I have noticed from this is that I've gotten a chance to meet my neighbors and like really make our own community stronger from this arising and us having a chance to actually have some conversations about what our neighborhood looks like and what we want for it as people who live there and have lived there for 15 to 30 years, some people. And so I just know that we're just against it with the traffic coming in and out. The roads are narrow. We have no curbs. The kids like to ride bikes. The roads are not good condition. It's tar with rocks. There's rocks everywhere every day. They'll street sweep it, but it's the same. We have sinkholes. We have huge potholes. The road has eroded from the edge. You cannot fit 2 cars down it. You have to pull off into someone's yard. Trash day is a whole nother issue. So I just think that if any kind of increase would just not be good for our neighborhood. And I think that is all I have. I think if you want to change the zoning, that's fine to change it, but to just change it so that the continuity goes with what Tyler has planned for Irish Meadows, which is an R1A. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and presence. Any questions for Ms. Addison? If not, is there a Bianca Story? Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Excuse me?
State your name and address for
Yes,
the record,
yes.
please.
Good afternoon. My name is Blanca Story, and my street is 523 Limerick, so very close to Gaelic, this narrow street where the heavy traffic seems to be going through. I have been in Irish Meadows for 25 years. This is my home away from home. We have built this neighborhood with resilience, friendship, and community mentality. Because of my time strain, only 5 minutes, I cannot share the multiple stories that support this mentality of community. This project that from the beginning has been stained with secrecy and lack of clarity, only a few neighbors were informed directly, is causing an unwanted stress and taking an emotional toll amongst the residents, especially to the elderly, the retirees like me, and young families with kids playing in the streets. The only positive side of this situation is that the Pandora box has been opened. There has been some neglect on the part of the city. Last meeting, I heard about sewage and flooding problems and the famous sidewalks that were never built. We thought that at one point, when we were going to be part of the city, the sidewalks were going to be built. That has not happened. But as you can see, the main issue is traffic. We are very concerned about that. Our streets are driveways, narrow, and again without sidewalks. With more families having teenagers who have started driving, it has increased the volume of traffic. Walking, like me, I'm a walker with my husband, walking has become challenging and sometimes dangerous. The access to this space will be through Dublin, the main artery to the neighborhood, which is also very narrow. And I'm going to be very redundant saying narrow. Gaelic which is that street that we are talking about, is an extremely narrow street where you have a great number of kids who play outside. This is the main entrance to this new project. So, I don't know if you guys have been in Irish Meadows. I will, if not, I will invite you to come so that you can see with your own eyes what we are talking about. You will see that when two cars are at the same time on the streets, on the main street, and this is the main street, and you are walking, number one, the cars have to stop and you have to get into the front yards of the neighbors because there is not a place to simply walk. So thinking about this increment on the volume of traffic, like I said, is causing a lot of stress. And that's it.
Ms. Story, thank you. Any questions for Ms. Story? If not, again, thank you for your time here. Darlene Skates, Ms. Skates?
Good afternoon. My name is Darlene Skates. I live at 416 Brigadoon Street, and I've lived there since approximately 1985, so I'm one of the old timers from there. And I respectfully request that you vote no against this zoning request because of the following reasons. It's not compatible with our neighborhood. We have single-family homes, and it would negatively impact our property value. And also the increased traffic on the narrow streets, and our streets are in very bad, poor condition. Probably the worst I've seen since I've been there, since I've lived there. I'm a walker in the morning, and I've seen a lot of the people that walk, and we have a lot of kids that ride bikes and play, and so the increased traffic would be a problem. The noise pollution. We get a lot of noise from Highway 69. In the summertime, we get a lot of noise from Faulkner Park, and I just feel like if that wooded area is taken down, we will get a lot of noise from Loop 49, which we get a little bit now, but I think it would be, and plus I'm an animal lover, so taking out the woods would be hard for me because of all the wildlife and things that we have over there. The last point, the utilities, I'm not sure about the Liberty Utilities problem. I don't think that was ever resolved. We're still paying Liberty Utilities. We are not on, we have City of Tyler water, but we do not have City of Tyler sewer. And I don't know where that problem was ever left. We just had a major water leak out there Easter weekend, and our water was cut off for a whole day to our neighborhood. And so I just don't know. I mean, I guess I'll have to ask my city council person, because I don't know where that is. And my last comment is, our neighborhood's not real fancy, but it's our neighborhood. And so we hope you'll vote no. Thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. Any questions for Ms. Skates? Any questions for Ms. Skates? All right, I also have a screen that just went blank, so. Okay. A couple of other people signed up to speak, and they're not on my screen. Are the persons here who signed up to speak? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Oster. My wife and I live at 9353 Gaelic Hills Drive. This week marks 30 years we've lived in our home. When we bought our home in June of '95, the furthest thing south was Brahms. Several years later, we moved in. We were annexed by the city of Tyler. I was for the annexation. I didn't mind paying more taxes in order to have City of Tyler fire and police protection. We were also led to believe we would get better streets, maybe sidewalks, better lighting. None of that ever happened. The city comes out every couple years, they fill in the potholes and they lay a little asphalt, but that's about it. We're also some of the few City of Tyler residents that still have Tall Timbers as our sewage company. My understanding is we pay more for our sewage than most people in Tyler. How is that possible? Back then, our neighborhood was surrounded by woods. We were not naive enough to think that that would last forever. Soon, Faulkner Park was developed. What a blessing to our neighborhood and the city of Tyler. Then came Loop 49, maybe a blessing to the majority of the citizens of Tyler, but not to the residents of Irish Meadows. Soon, our peaceful setting was replaced by the constant noise of big trucks barreling down 49. It's much worse in the winter when there are no leaves on the trees to insulate the neighborhood. I think Tyler, this board in particular, has done a good job in helping develop the city. I can go across the street in less than 5 minutes, see a movie, grab dinner, and hit the grocery store. Most everything we need is right there. So why am I opposed to this zoning change and proposed development? It's very simple. We cannot absorb that amount of new traffic. Our roads are unsafe as it is. Our streets are small. To pass by oncoming vehicles, both drivers have to get on the shoulder to pass each other. If you're out for a walk or run, you have to get off the road in order to be safe when cars approach. We don't have sidewalks. Kids have to ride their bikes in the street. We cannot absorb 42 new homes on less than 6 acres. The proposal is for 55 and up demographic. With that brings an increase in home health care, fire trucks, and ambulances. Many of you don't know this, but children on one side of the street in the neighborhood go to TISD. Right across the street, they go to White House. So we have twice as many buses in our neighborhood than any other neighborhood in Tyler. I listened to an interview recently that the mayor was giving. He was asked what makes Tyler so great. I was impressed with all the accomplishments we as a city together have made over the last few years. I am quite proud to call Tyler home. It's no wonder we are always ranked as one of the best places to live in the United States. Then the interviewer asked the mayor, what is the biggest challenge facing Tyler? You know what he said? Traffic. Let's talk about the proposed zone change in order to develop 42 tiny homes. I've heard it referred to as a veterans home. Let's be clear, it's not a veterans home. There may be some veterans living there ultimately, but anyone 55 and above will be allowed to live there. As a veteran myself, I want to make sure the housing of veterans is not an angle that is being exploited here. If the developer truly was concerned about creating a utopian type setting for people to live in, as he describes in his brochure from the Front Porch Cottage Village, No Worries Living, don't you think he would have canvassed the neighborhood and talked to the residents of the neighborhood he was looking to disrupt and change forever? We live on the corner of Dublin and Gaelic Hills Drive. This will affect our living as much as anyone. I will tell you what he did. He only passed out brochures to those that lived within 200 feet of the proposed development. I'm sure that's the law. He also did it almost 30 days exactly before the date of this meeting. Again, meeting the bare minimum legal requirements. Let's talk about the traffic survey he said they conducted. You mean the young kid that sat in his car at the end of the dead-end road counting cars? That's the traffic survey. As soon as my wife and I heard about this proposed development, we went to work. Multiple neighbors got together and went door to door, making everyone aware of what was happening. Surprise, the only people that knew were in the 200-foot zone. Together, we collected over 160 signatures from residents opposing this zone change and development. We flooded our city councilman with phone calls and emails. This manifested into a town hall meeting last week, which was well attended by our neighbors, the City of Tyler representatives, the developers, and our city councilman. The developers will tell you they have never developed anything like this, nor is there anywhere else like it in the country. It's a vision they have. Well, we don't want to be their test subject. We know changes are coming our way with the development of the property to the south of Cumberland Road and east of Faulkner Park. We know it. We know it's coming. That's going to happen, and hopefully this board will make sure it's done right. We are asking you to say no this afternoon to the proposed zoning change and development. We are asking you to support your fellow citizens who have paid taxes here for many years and have called Tyler home. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for this gentleman? Susan Dickey. Ms. Dickey.
I'm Susan Dickey. I live at 9374 Gaelic Hills. I've been there 23 years. That street and that neighborhood is a very wonderful place to live. As you can see from today, that everybody is concerned about this project. And so if you would understand the full effect to our neighborhood. Now, a lot of things have been addressed. Drainage has not. When it rains, because the neighborhood slopes down, our house and a lot of other houses, there's a lake in the backyard, and you have to make sure that it drains properly, or you're going to have water in your house. When you take away those trees, which we all love, and they do keep the noise from us, then that's going to have more drainage coming down the streets. The other thing is everybody's talked about, our streets are weary. They're not in good shape. So if you start clearing out that neighborhood, you're going to have trucks taking out trees, you're going to have dirt movers, you're going to have lumber coming in to build these houses. And so that's going to be more wear and tear on the streets. There's bicycle kiddos, there's people walking. That is a walking neighborhood. And so as people have addressed, it's a major concern you're going to get hit by a car. So it is a wonderful concept that this man is talking about, but not in our neighborhood. And there's undeveloped land in Tyler, so maybe he can go find it. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dickey. Any questions for Ms. Dickey? Are there others who, yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Lemke. I live at 9362 with my husband. We've lived here for 30 years. And if I were to ask people in this audience right here how many of us are teachers or nurses, you would see a majority of the hands rise. We service our community. We invest in our community. We're not rich. We don't make a lot of money. So this is our investment. And it worries me. It causes me anxiety to know that there is more being built. I've attended multiple meetings by the city where green belts were going to be knocked down. Specifically, I can tell you where that car wash is at the corner of 69 and Copeland Road. There was a big meeting all about that, and I stood up and said, I don't want it, but it got done anyway. And I've been to multiple meetings like that. You know, I moved to Tyler because I loved the trees, but here we are knocking down the trees, the very thing that brings people to our city for tourism. That's one concern. Another concern is the students that live on our street. It's not a safe place for them to play. And I'm sure all of y'all grew up living in the streets, playing with your bicycles. It's very unsafe. You have to be so proactive. You know, this is a neighborhood that deserves a little bit of investment. And I'm not opposed to his pocket community. I need to state that. In fact, I think it's a great idea. And I would like to invest in something like that. I'm just not sold right now that this is the right place. Now, that being said, I'm also very concerned, like he says, that if he doesn't get it, somebody else is going to come in and destroy what we've built as a community. I'm just going to ask you, please, consider our neighborhood, consider the people who work here in Tyler and who work for the good of your children, the good of your elderly parents. We all work in hospitals and schools. We need y'all to invest in us because we invest in y'all. And so when I say that, I mean, we would like to see those sidewalks that were promised. We would love to see the drainage work that should have been done. If you come to my house on a day that rains heavily, there is a lake that runs straight through between my house and hers. And I've got video if you don't believe me. It's knee high, and there's a current, and children can get swept up in that if they're not being watched. It's not safe, and I feel like, well, let me just put it to you this way. Our house went down in property value by $2,000 or $3,000 this year. But our property went up $30,000. $30,000. That's almost what I make in a year. So I'm supposed to pay taxes, but I'm not getting a return on my investment. I need the city to hear us. I need the city to invest in us. because we work really hard to help the city. That's all I'm saying. His community, I think, could be a great thing. I really do. And I would even be willing to volunteer in a community like that. I just need to make sure that it doesn't further decrease the value of my own home, because I'm getting old. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting older, you know, and I don't know that when I get really old, I'll have the fight to say, please don't devalue my community further. I just need you to invest in us, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you for your time here. Any questions for this lady? Yes, sir. I haven't done this in a long time, but sometimes I like the rule. If it's been said once, why say it again?
I agree with you 100%.
Good.
You used to teach at UT Tyler, correct?
I did.
And I took a course from you. You had a good job.
Did you make an A?
I did.
Good.
I made an A on everything I ever took.
Good.
And I don't know if it was in spite of you or because of me, but hey, it all turned out. I'm Randall Jarvis, and I live at 525 Limerick. And I've lived there, it'll be 29 years this Thanksgiving, which will also be my wife and I's 49th year of marriage. So I'm invested in this. And 55, I think your heart's in the right place. You seem like you're really altruistic. But the question I have for the city is, what is the return on investment for the city? I'm not talking about short term, but he's a charitable contribution place. Are they going to be paying any taxes? The second thing I wanted to bring up that hadn't been brought up was the entrance and egress is through our neighborhood. Now there's going to be 40 maybe people. They got 0.7 cars. There's going to be a lot of foot traffic. 55 is not old. I'm 73. 55 is not old. God Almighty, I said 55. But there's going to be a lot of foot traffic going through that neighborhood and down that street. I go down there every day going to the dog park with my wife, and there's always children out playing, particularly at her house. Just from across the street, over here, little kids. And 55-year-old men, ex-vets, bless their hearts, pray for your service, thank you for your service. They may have some issues. They may not want to wait 2 times a week to go to the store, which is a mile away. They're going to be traversing through the neighborhood, and there's a safety requirement to that. And is this something that the city, we hardly ever have the police come out for anything. I mean, I have never called the police in 29 years. They cruise through, and I stop them and say, what are y'all doing? Nothing. We're just looking. We never come over here, so hey, there you go. I'm just seeing more problems for the police department. These things are going to be tiny, and I'm guessing they'll be well built for 3 or 4 years. And with the Texas weather and the typhoons that we have coming through here lately, they're going to deteriorate quickly. And as you know, well, we're going to have somebody there. But where's the money going to come from when they need to be rehabbed? How long will it take before the foundation, or maybe he passes away, the LLC that's going to belong to, goes kaput and it gets sold off, and anybody's welcome? Those are, they haven't been brought up before, so I wanted to bring that up. The second thing was, if you want to do it, and I get all these complaints, you cut that road all the way out to 69, and you build a wall around your little development. Gated community. We have those all over time. They pop up, it's gated. You don't come through the neighborhood, you come off 69, you go back on 69. Your problem's solved. Thanks, folks. I'm done.
Thank you. Any questions for this gentleman? Are there any other former A students of mine who want to speak? If not, yes, sir. Yes, come to the microphone. Please come to the microphone. Please come to the microphone. Please come to the microphone.
Who are these people and where they come from?
Please come for the microphone.
We have no idea.
Mr. Breedlove, are you part of the Breedloves from Tyler?
I am in Tyler, but I'm not part of
The Breedlove family. How about you? Do you live here? Do you come from West Virginia? I understand this company is from West Virginia that's doing this. Is that correct?
No, that's where the property owner lives, the guy that owns the land now.
Okay. What does he have to do with it? Is he just selling you the property? Okay, so you're purchasing the property and you're doing all this on your own. Is the construction government subsidized?
Zero. We are getting no subsidies.
Are you gonna get money because?
Sir, I appreciate this dialogue, but could y'all come to the microphone so we make sure there's a record of the conversation? Stephen, Bob?
Will they pay any property taxes?
I think you're a liar, for one thing. When you first come in here and you started talking, I just don't understand.
Can we direct the
Address
questions
the conversation to me.
to the commissioners?
Okay. I don't believe what this man said when he came in here. And I don't know where he comes from. He says he lives in Waco. Well, what is the actual company that's doing this and who owns that company?
Okay, so it's,
Who do you work for?
I'm self-employed, but this is a foundation. This is not a company.
Oh, it's a foundation?
It's a nonprofit 501c3 foundation.
Well, where in the world did they get the idea to do this?
Sir, we have done projects. This is not the first project. We look for needs. in the
Oh, I
community.
thought you said it was the first project
It's the
like this.
first
You know,
senior citizen.
Sir, I'm sorry, this conversation's sort of a sidetrack. I'm gonna have to stop at this
Well,
point.
my question was where these guys come from.
Why don't you
And that's
visit,
really all I want to know.
visit with him separately, please?
Thank you.
Any other person who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I wrote it out, so it won't take long. Some of this may be
State
reiterated.
your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Alinda Harvey. Myself, husband Sam, and our 4 children live at 9379 St. Patrick Place. Our property is directly adjacent to the property in question. We purchased this house in July of 2024, not 30 years ago like some other people here, and it was an exorbitant amount of money. There are several reasons we chose this home. Being on a dead end with woods beside us to create a small sound barrier in the summer from the toll road and give a more private feeling was definitely at the top. We love the charm of Irish Meadows, well-appointed single-family brick homes that are all up to city and neighborhood code, nice-sized yards, conveniently located, and family-oriented. The months we spent in our home, we have grown to love it and the neighborhood more and more. We did know about the vacant lot next to us and even went to scope it out when we first moved in. We knew there was a chance a developer would purchase the land. We imagined homes that mimic the look and feel of the rest of the neighborhood, as the street is part of our subdivision. Single-family brick homes, maybe a handful. Never in a million years did we imagine 42 tiny houses as our neighbors. We would not have purchased our home less than a year ago if we pulled into the drive and saw dozens of tiny homes beside us. This was a huge investment for us during a time when the housing market is out of this world and property value keeps going up and up. It isn't right for our investment to potentially depreciate in value and us come out at a loss because of a zoning change that doesn't meet the same standards as the rest of Irish Meadows. I know it's been mentioned that drainage will be an issue, and I can also confirm that it already is, as we deal with flooding in our yard and shop every time it rains. Adding 42 new residents could magnify that issue immensely. It would also increase traffic tremendously on Dublin and Gaelic Hills, already busy streets, not just from the residents and their caregivers, but from the crews that will come to clear the densely wooded property, dump trucks, tractors, and rigs, all of which will do a serious number on the asphalt roads. Yet another thing that could diminish the look of the neighborhood as well as the property value. What happens if all the spaces can't be filled, or the nonprofit goes under, or it's poorly managed? What then? Does it turn into HUD housing? What does that do to our property value? I ask each one of you, would you buy a home next to a tiny house park, an RV park, a mobile home park? If your answer is no, then I implore you to please consider the current residents and how this project could affect each of our lives and our investments into Irish Meadow. While I believe the mission is a worthy one, myself and my husband are adamantly opposed to the idea of it being in Irish Meadows. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for this witness? Thank you for your time and presence. Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I'm Jolene Oster, and I live at 9353 Gaelic Hills Drive. And everything was pretty much said, so I would be redundant, so I won't read mine. But I did bring my petition with me, and it has over 165 concerned residents opposing this project. And I do want to emphasize that 100% of the residents on Gaelic Hills Drive are united in their opposition. And we believe this experiment is not conducive to our community, and we urge you to listen to the people who live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for this witness? Yes, ma'am.
Can I sign the petition?
Under the rules of the planning department and the zoning procedure, the burden of persuasion is on the applicant. So I'm going to give the applicant an opportunity to close. That doesn't mean that this commission's made any decision. We're going to follow the rules and give them an opportunity to close if they'd like. Bob?
Thank you for your time today. We would have liked to have had another way out to Broadway going straight east, but we could never get TxDOT to allow that additional access point. Although we never pursued it, we just knew it would never happen. And we don't own the land between us and 69. So the only access is through this location that we have. We chose not to use St. Patrick's, I believe. St. Patrick's just to try to minimize and go around the backside, I guess you could say. We understand the angst that we've caused with everybody, and again, we apologize for that. We're obviously trying to build a neighborhood within a neighborhood, and that's where we're at. So we're happy to answer any questions you have, and I know there's some drainage problems out there. We will definitely be handling the drainage that we generate, handling it the way that we're supposed to. We would not be able to fix all the drainage problems that are out there, and there are numerous ones, but mostly because by the bar ditch streets not having curb and gutter and things like that. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have. And
any questions for Mr. Breedlove? Bob, thanks for your time and presence. Yeah, yes, sir. This is one person. Please come to the microphone. If you just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Lisa McClure, and I live at 415 Blarney Stone, and I've lived there for 20 years this time around. I lived there from 1984 to 1990 with my parents before I got married, and we bought a house there. I'm going to read a statement from my neighbor who lives at 414 Blarney Stone. Her name is Jennifer Subin. I'm writing to express my frustration with the scheduling of today's meeting for the planning and rezoning of the Irish Meadows subdivision. Most families in this area are working middle class and unable to break away for the meeting during business hours. Additionally, many of us were not aware of the meeting that was held at the police station because the city was following the notification requirements of only notifying the residents within 200 feet of the proposed rezoning. I've lived in Irish Meadows since 1983. My home was one of the first 5 built in the neighborhood. When we were annexed, we were promised many changes that have yet to happen, including but not limited to city streetlights for safety, city sewer, upgraded roads, addition of curbs and drainage support. To add another housing addition adjacent to our neighborhood, utilizing the access of our entry roads will only further disintegrate our streets and result in heavier traffic in the area that our children occupy. Next, I would like to address some very tender topics: community safety and the safety of our children, and the balance of veteran care. While I 100% feel the need to support our veterans in any way that we are able to, I do not support sacrificing the safety of our youth by placing a group of veterans in low-income housing in our neighborhood. Portions of the population of these men and women statistically have serious mental health issues, substantial criminal history, untreated trauma, and suffer with drug and alcohol addiction. I believe first and foremost that the safety and well-being of the existing families and our children in our neighborhood should be considered a priority. And lastly, I would like to ask, should there be any other additional meetings that the City of Tyler consider notifying all residents in the neighborhood? Thank you.
Thank you for your time and presence. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. My name's David McClure, and I live at 415 Blarney Stone. That was my wife. She was reading for our neighbors, so I'm speaking for us. But basically, we've lived there for 20 years, and y'all annexed us about 6 months after we moved there. I won't repeat everything that's been said, but the roads, drainage, all of that has got to be fixed, and we don't need to do anything like this until you get our neighborhood up to par. It has to be fixed. They made a very, very poor attempt about 2 years ago to fix the roads, and it didn't work. So I think as elected officials, our community has spoken, and we have said no to this. So you need to reflect that. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and presence. You know, I don't like to bring these hearings to a close, but I do feel like at this point we've had a full and frank discussion of the issue. And so is there a commissioner, any questions for city staff?
I have a question for Mr. Breedlove. No more questions?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I hate to do that. Any questions for city staff? If not, is there a commissioner who would like to make this staff recommendation is to deny. Is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, after in all consideration taken and respect to all parties involved, I recommend declining the request for Z 25-012.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to deny this application for a zoning change. Any discussion? If not, would somebody call the roll? Who's down there?
Carleen
Marina.
Darkbase.
Marina.
Aye.
Clint Childs.
Aye.
Philip Humber.
Aye.
Christina Davis.
Aye.
Michael Carmichael.
Aye.
Roy Martinez.
Aye.
And David Hudson.
Aye. The application to change the zoning is denied. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for your time and presence. If you'd like to stay and watch the rest of the hearing, you can, or if you'd like to leave, this would be a good time.
Still a meeting going on.
Just glad it's not the others. Be 1,000 people. Where's our police officer? Close the door, 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 close the door,
Hunter.
Close the door. The next item on our agenda is PD 25009, Henry's Fork Investments LLC. Sheila?
Good afternoon, Commissioners and everyone present. This is a zone change from RPO, Restricted Professional Office District, to PMF, Planned Multifamily District, located at the southwest intersection of Dolores Street and New Copeland Road. The applicant is requesting the zone change specifically and exclusively to develop 2 fourplex residential buildings. The adjacent properties to the north is zoned RPO, Restricted Professional Office District, and is developed with a single-family home. The adjacent properties to the east is zoned PUR, which is a planned unit residential and is a development of single-family homes. To the south is zoned a PCD, Planned Commercial District, Planned Commercial Development District, and is undeveloped. To the west is zoned R1A, or a single-family residential district, and is developed with a single-family home. The future land use guide identifies this property as a single-family, medium-low density, and this request would amend the future land use guide to be townhouse garden apartment. The applicant is requesting the zone change specifically to develop 2 fourplex residential buildings on a single lot. The site plan proposes 8 units with a density of 0.88 units per acre. The proposed setbacks are 15 feet in the front, 15 feet on the rear, and 10 feet on the interior side. The site plan also proposes a 10-foot wide Type A buffer yard along the west property line. The maximum height of the buildings is 42 feet. The proposed development features 2 off driveway parking spaces and 2 car garages for each unit. Signage, fencing, landscaping, parking will meet the Unified Development Code regulations. This is buffer requirements that are required for the project. These are also types of Type A buffer yards that the applicant will choose for the 10-foot buffer yard on that west side of the property line. As you can see there, that's displayed. This is also a rendering of this of the 1-story fourplex unit. Of the 16 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor. 4 notices in opposition to the request were returned for a total protest calculation of 10.55%. I should also note that there were a number of property owners outside of the 200-foot protest map area in opposition to this request. The opposition expressed concerns of a high concentration of residents and vehicles and a negative impact to the character of the neighborhood, and also a potential decrease in property value of the area. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that it is consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of this request.
Thank you, Sheila. Any questions for Sheila? Any questions for city staff? If not, Bob, you represent that? Well, I'm sorry. You'll have an opportunity to speak, but you need to engage with us at the appropriate time, and you'll have that opportunity, I promise. Bob, do you represent the applicant?
Yes, sir. Bob Breedlove with Brandon Corporation here representing the property owner and developer. As Sheila did a good job of explaining the project to y'all, it's currently an RPO zoning. All the properties RPO zoned, and we're trying to change the western half to allow for those two fourplexes. The fourplex on the west side that's against the backs up to the house will be a single story. The other one's a two-story building. The property owner owns both lots, or owns all the land there, so they'll develop the RPO as an RPO later. We're leaving some buffers, as you can tell there, and be happy to answer any questions. There's a little bit of work we'll be doing on Dolores. There's not curb and gutter the whole way, so we'll add curb and gutter on our side, do a little bit of widening of Dolores right there. But we expect most of our traffic to go to Copeland Road. Obviously, there'd be a chance to go the other direction, but you'd be kind of winding through the neighborhood. So we expect most of the traffic to go in and out of Copeland Road. Be happy to answer any questions for y'all.
I may have,
Any question for Mr. Breedlove?
I may have missed it earlier. What's the bed bath count proposed on these?
I believe it's 3 2s on the outside units and 2 2s on the inside units. James Goss with Hunt is here. He'll confirm that for me here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The outside units are.
Sir, come to the microphone, state your name and address.
The outside units on that single story that is adjacent to the single family, those are 3 2s. The interior is 2 2s. And then the 2-story adjacent, or across the street, those would all be 3 2.
Would you state your name and address?
I'm sorry, James Goss, I'm with Hunt Development.
Any other questions?
Could you explain the across the street thing? I'm really sorry. I'm just trying to keep up.
Well, there's a driveway coming in.
So that's the street we're talking about?
Yeah, that's the driveway coming in there. So it's just a common access drive with a hammerhead turnaround. There's no gate planned at this time. And then, of course, Dolores exists, so we'll be doing a little bit of work to Dolores itself, but just be a driveway off of Dolores.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, I have, nobody has signed up on my screen to speak. Are there persons here who would like to speak on this application? I'm sorry, for or against? Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Wayne Page. I live at 909 Dolores. My concern is the traffic on Dolores is one of the main entrances to Foxcroft Addition. In addition to that, we have a new addition across Copeland Road that comes into this intersection, plus the industrial park off Copeland Road. Most of those make a U-turn at this intersection, which puts a lot of traffic on Copeland Road. And my concern is the safety of the traffic and all that. You know, Copeland Road is a real busy intersection. So that's my concern.
All right, thank you. Any questions for this gentleman? Thank you, sir, for your time and presence. This lady here really should go first. I'm sorry I put you off, but.
Oh, no, my apologies for jumping in. I
State
didn't
your
realize
name.
I couldn't ask a question at that point.
State your name and address.
My name is Crystal Strickland. I'm here on behalf of Copeland Point Owners Association, which has a pretty large footprint within that 200-foot area that was noticed. I'm also here on behalf of myself as an owner of Dreamy Tree Holdings, which owns 2 suites within the buildings there. And actually, if I can now, am I able to ask the question I wanted to ask her?
Why don't you address the questions to me?
Okay, sure. So I was curious as to how you guys calculate that percentage for the notices that were returned in opposition. And the reason I ask that is because some of the owners that were within that area own multiple lots. And so are they being counted as one, or are they being counted as how many votes that person would have?
Kyle, Sheila? Kyle?
So it's calculated based off the the area of the property that's protesting the request. If we, and so I think we may not have been aware if there were any other written protests from that Copeland Point Owners Association. If there are, then those properties owned by the association would also be included in that protest.
Okay,
So if
so,
that's the case, then.
yeah, so I think that percentage is higher. I can tell now by looking at this map. I know for a fact that CBAX Investments protested, also myself, Dreaming Tree Holdings, and also Copeland Point Owners Association do not appear to be highlighted there in red. That's gonna fill in a little bit more of that map.
Well, this chart illustrates the 200-foot area.
Right,
and the areas
Copeland
that
Point
are-
Owners Association is within that area.
And the red is those people that actually protested. So the others, if the other people protested, we evidently don't have notice of that.
Yes, we emailed them. I sent them last week.
All right, well, we want to make sure that we have that information. That's why those are red and the others are not,
Right.
those are the ones that we were given notice of who actually protested.
Right, okay. So, in any event, there are more people that protested. I was copied on the emails. I sent some of the emails myself. I don't see my representation up there. So I just want you guys to be aware that there are more protests than what is represented on the screen.
Okay.
So in any event, Copeland Point Owners Association obviously also owns property directly adjacent to that 200-foot area as well. And I'm here representing the owners within that area. They've expressed concerns with potential for decrease in property values. So Copeland Point Owners Association is made up of 7 office buildings, primarily with attorneys, doctors, real estate brokers, the Better Business Bureau, just to name a few. These buildings are valued, each suite is a little over $250,000, so $1 million per building. This is a very, high valued property. And being next door to a multifamily district, we feel that's not congruent with the way that the properties around us have been used historically. So you also have historically an older neighborhood adjacent to it that is primarily larger single-family houses. You also have across the street, just within the last year or so, Park Central, a new development, which is developed primarily for single-family houses that are going to be over $1 million. Putting in multifamily housing there doesn't, in my opinion, seem to make sense. The property owners within Copeland Point seem to share that idea or opinion, and so we are in opposition to this rezoning.
All right, thank you for your time and presence. Any questions for this lady? Again, thank you. Are there others who would like to speak on this? Yes, sir.
I'm James Finninger at 6019 Foxcroft. I just actually saw this notice in this lot yesterday, so looked it up and realized what was happening. As other people have said, and I will reiterate this, that it doesn't fit the neighborhood. We have houses, the average house size of about 3,500 square feet for the single-family units, okay? I've lived there for 25 years. We just completely remodeled our house to bring it even up higher. And it's very, very nice. Everybody probably knows where Foxcroft is. It's a well-respected neighborhood. It's nice to see a lot of young families moving there because when we moved there, we were the youngest. And so it's turning around where there's a lot of young families, and I'm seeing kids riding their bicycles, and I'm seeing families walking a lot more than I used to when we first moved there. So and you're saying the traffic, most of the traffic would go out to Grande. Well, Reek Road is the other road that intercepts with New Copeland. It gets so crowded around there, people are coming through Foxcroft now to get back over to New Copeland to get over to Grande, because Grande is now one of the major roads going through there, and Reek is kind of, Shiloh's too busy, so they're using Reek. Reek gets backed up, they use Foxcroft, and so this would just add to it more. So I'm very opposed to it. I would think, if nothing else, it's already zoned for professional, and I think that's good, because you're up against New Copeland Road, which is a busy road, great for doctors and lawyers and such, but it's not, this is basically apartments. So you're talking about putting apartments right in the middle of a very nice neighborhood. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Any questions for this gentleman? Again, thanks for being here. Are there others who would like to speak? Yes, sir. Or ma'am, I can't see you.
Hi there. My name is Megan Riley, and I live at 913 Dolores Street, which is just 2 houses down from the property in question.
Can we see a property map instead of this, so I can see where
No problem.
people live? So which house is yours on Dolores? None of those.
The one in red, 2 houses down.
Okay.
I live there with my husband and our 1-year-old son. Again, just 2 houses down. I'm here today to respectfully but firmly object to the proposed zone change that would allow for the construction of multifamily 4-plex apartment complexes in our neighborhood. Our community is currently made up of a quiet, secluded, owner-occupied single-family homes. This proposed development would fundamentally and permanently alter the character of our neighborhood. What is now a peaceful residential area could become a high-density cluster of up to 8 families with about 4 individuals in each family. That would be 32 individuals in a small area, along with accompanying vehicles, pets, and traffic that come with it. This kind of density is simply incompatible with the existing neighborhood. It would not only increase noise, congestion, and wear on our roads and infrastructure, but would almost certainly cause a reduction in the market value of our homes and the others nearby. While we understand the development is inevitable, it must be appropriate and respectful of existing communities. A professional office designation would be a far more suitable use of the property. It aligns with the mixed-use character of New Copeland Road, which would not negatively impact home values or the peaceful nature of our neighborhood. We're asking the commission to prioritize the integrity of our community and to reject this zoning change. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for this lady? Thanks for your presence. Are there others? Any other speakers? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Janet Doherty, and I live at 6022 Foxcroft Road, which is up and about 4 houses up on the corner of Dolores and Foxcroft. So my driveway actually runs into Dolores. And I just want to say that I'm opposed to it as well for property value reasons. You know, it's just going to be a whole lot of traffic that's hard to get out. And when he said that the Central Park property across the street, across Copeland that just opened up, they've only built 1 house in there so far. It's 26 lots. Think of the traffic, that all that comes into one place, and it's just adding to our issues. So thank you. I'm against it.
Any questions for this lady? If not, thank you for your presence. Are there others? All right, Bob, would give the applicant a right to close. You or the developer, one or the other?
I do have a question for the developer, if that's appropriate now.
Sure.
Do y'all have any plans at the moment on the adjacent lot to the east?
We've done a layout for an office building, but I don't think there's any plans to build anything yet.
New Copeland?
Yes.
I know the owner is wanting to build an office of some sort. He hasn't decided yet. He has a practice that he could potentially be putting in there, some moving parts, but the intent is to keep that commercial.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bob?
I'm just here to answer any questions, but I don't really have anything else to
Any
add.
questions from Mr. Breedlove?
Sorry.
Not a question for Mr. Breedlove, but Sheila, could we see the zoning map again, please? That one, thank you.
So there's no other multifamily anywhere in this vicinity?
Kyle, with planned multifamily, we are voting on this plan and this plan alone, correct?
That's correct. It would be specific and only for that layout. If there were to be any change, it would have to come back through this process.
And also, Kyle, would you comment on, with the percentages being in question, if they exceed a certain percentage, there is a requirement that the vote at city council has to be, would you kind of explain that, just so we're all on the same page and make sure we have the percentages correct?
Well, it looks like if we confirm that those other properties are in opposition, that it will likely exceed the 20% threshold for calculating a protest that will require city council to approve it with a 3/4 majority instead of a simple majority. So I think the feedback that you received today from those property owners or those that might represent some of them is hopefully helpful to you all. But the protest calculation will only affect the vote that's required at city council if it goes to that stage.
Thanks.
Any other, commissioners, any other questions? Members of the public, this is your opportunity to speak. If not, the staff's recommendation is to approve. Is there a commissioner who would like to make a motion of any kind?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to move to deny request PD 25-009 for density reasons.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to deny. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion to deny, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
So that's 2 to 5, I believe. Did I get that right? By a vote of 5 to 2, the application is denied. Next is Z 25-009, Lin Hang, 3515 Woodbine Boulevard. Sheila?
Yes, sir. This is a zone change from R1A, Single Family Residential District, to C2.
Sheila,
Gentlemen-
hold on just a second. I don't know about others, but I can't hear singles. Probably my advanced age, but I just can't hear squat. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Sheila?
So this is a zone change from R1A, Single Family Residential District, to C2, General Commercial District. This property is located at the northwest intersection of Woodbine Boulevard and east-southeast Loop 323. The applicant is requesting the zone change for commercial uses. The adjacent properties to the north, east, and south are zoned R1A, Single Family Residential District, and are developed with single-family homes. The adjacent properties to the west are zoned R1A, Single Family Residential District, and RPO, Restricted Professional Office District, and are developed with a single-family home and an undeveloped lot, respectively. The future land use guide identifies this property as single-family, medium, low density. This request would amend the future land use guide to general commercial. The applicant purchased this property with the intent of commercial development due to the property's frontage along Loop 323, which is a major arterial street. Now, there are a number of residentially zoned properties, including the subject property, that have frontage both along Loop 323, and residential streets. These properties are required to be accessed by the street of the lowest classification, thereby restricting access from the loop. The subject property would also be restricted from access to Loop 323 due to driveway spacing standards from the intersection. All traffic from the development would therefore be directed to Woodbine Boulevard, which may have a detrimental impact on the surrounding established neighborhood. Uses allowed for C2 general commercial zoning would be considered incompatible and with the existing development in the area and could be deemed as spot zoning. There's some images along that area that is Woodbine. Of the 13 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor, and 4 were returned in opposition, with a total protest calculation of 16.70%. There have been a significant number of neighbors outside of the 200-foot protest area who have communicated their opposition to the request. The opposition expressed concerns about commercial traffic flow being directed to Woodbine Boulevard and the negative impact on the character and property value of the neighborhood. All other departments have reviewed the application and anticipate a negative impact on services and facilities by the proposed rezoning request. Staff recommends denial of the request to change the zoning from R1A, single-family residential, to C2, general commercial district.
Thank you, Sheila. Any questions for Sheila or city staff? If not, are the persons who would like to speak on this? Is the applicant here?
Good afternoon,
Pull the
lady.
microphone down and state your name and address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen in the room today. My name Lin Han, and my address is 3715 Woodbine Boulevard. And I would like to turn my land be the commercial land, because before that the house, but I see that my two on the loop, they all the commercial already. That's why I would like to be turn my land be commercial land.
Thanks. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you for your time and presence. Are there others who would like to speak on this item? If y'all would, someone would come.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Daniel Noteware. I live at 1626 Dennis Drive. It's about a quarter mile north of the subject property, kind of between Green Acres and the subject that we're talking about. I'm here kind of speaking on behalf of a lot of concerned neighbors and friends right in the area. We have gathered together, we've provided a letter that I believe you should have in your packet with over 30 signatures in opposition to this zoning request change. Just briefly, the bullet points of it would be that this property has always been residential, that it actually is required to be residential due to zoning restrictions that we believe are still in place, that there's restrictions that are of record in the property records that require it to be maintained as residential and not operated as a business. And one other point, that it's part of a proposed historic district called the Pollard Residential Historic District that's pending approval. This property is part of that, and kind of the whole intent of that neighborhood district is to celebrate the residential character of this neighborhood. There are some other properties sort of in the area that have commercial character, but there is nothing in this area that is commercial, that is zoned commercial. There's a property at 3720 Birdwell that's owned, that's POD, and that is a residence that operates an office. It's a construction company that operates an office out of a residence. And then there's another property that's AR zoned, that's an art school, but it's really just a house with an art that a woman teaches art out of her garage. So this property that we're talking about is kind of like the gateway from the loop into our neighborhood, and putting a nail salon there would, in our mind, destroy the character. And, you know, along with the C2 designation, you got requirements for signage, for parking. It's already been stated that the traffic would have to go on Woodbine itself, right next to other residential properties that are right there. One thing that I'd like to do so that we don't have, you know, 20 people coming up here to speak is to just ask people in the audience to raise their hand if they're in opposition to this zoning change, and then I can kind of count those out for you. So if you do that at this time, please. So we've got at least 20 here. I've got 30 signatures. Not all those directly overlap. So I'll let a few others speak to cover things that I haven't covered, but we would ask that you deny this zoning change. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any questions from Mr. Nowhere? Come to the microphone.
I'm sorry, I'm not we plan for open the business up there, but we not plan it just for the land commercial only. But we don't know what build later, whatever, and we sell that land. That's why I want to be commercial land only. I don't build the nail salon, or maybe people buy and the office, doctor office or dental office, and not hurt the neighborhood at all, because the way the infant to the loop and the side that the small road, the Woodbine. That's why I don't think it affect to all the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate Mr. Nowhere's including others, but people have an opportunity to speak if they'd like. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Lori Allen. I live at 1607 Dennis Drive, which is the southeast corner of Dennis and Birdwell, and I'm a neighbor of Danny's, and we're all real proud of him because he is so interested in the historical nature. Now, on that street, Woodbine, Danny can verify if I'm getting this exactly right, but when we had the Parade of Homes, it's not called the Parade of Homes, the historical tour, wasn't there a house at Woodbine or right across that double that was? Yes. Yes, and so you get the idea that there was a house that was so beautiful and so historic that's going to be part of this mid-century modern area, so designated that it's only less than a block down from this. So like some other people who came up here earlier so eloquently asked you to do, I would like you to imagine your block, your neighborhood. Think of one house at the end, either end, maybe closest to the major thoroughfare, and that house has burned down, tragically burned down. Would you want a commercial property to be built in that empty lot where the house burned down? That is what happened here in this property that we're talking about. The house burned down, and if you've been at Troop in the Loop and you have gone west any time in probably the last 4 or 5 months, you have passed this lot. So it's that obvious. Now, we're glad for entrepreneurial businesses to open in Tyler. In fact, we would like to see some empty storefronts just a few, I don't know, maybe half a block, a mile down at Paluxy and the Loop. There are plenty of empty storefronts going north on Paluxy and right on the Loop. And then you can just go over to Broadway and the Loop, which is the western side opposite that, and you've got Big Lots and those empty storefronts. So there are plenty of places for businesses to be that don't have to be here in a place that's zoned residential. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Any questions for this lady? Any questions?
Yes, sir, I know she in neighborhood, but I don't know her. But I'm sorry, she say the house, it burned down and let be the commercial land. That, I'm swear God, I'm not do that. That's the one I ran out and they burn out and they investigation people and they say everything not my fault because people live in there and they find not. And she say that I burned down and that the land clear out for business land. That's not right. I swear God. You know, investigation.
No.
You say
Wait,
like that.
stop.
I feel sad in front of everybody here. And you know what I mean? I surprised. I'm sorry. That one, it hurt my heart. You know what I mean?
We're gonna conduct this hearing.
And I would like turn the business only, but I don't know what the people and everything. So ma'am, in here, the investigation and my insurance paid for full my house already.
We're going to conduct this
Yes.
hearing orderly, and I think it's time for others to speak if they'd like. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name's David Frost. I live at 3501 Woodbine Boulevard. 6 houses maybe in on the same side as this lot. And Danny said most of the things I wanted to say, but I did want to just kind of address some of the criteria I know that the commission is supposed to be looking at in making these types of decisions. And, you know, the change to commercial too, obviously, I think their application indicated a nail salon. I don't know if that's what she's continuing to want to do, but that includes automobile garage, sales lot, a hotel, restaurant, warehouse, gas station. Obviously, that would fundamentally change this neighborhood, which has always been residential. And I've lived there since 1997. The house that was there before it had to burn down was always occupied. So people have lived on that lot consistently. But in terms of what you're looking at, I know on the Tyler First Comprehensive Plan, I'm not going to hit all of the criteria, but I know one of them is one of the goals under that Tyler First Comprehensive Plan is to sustain and maintain established neighborhoods. This is an established neighborhood since the 1950s. The Curtis family helped develop this neighborhood, and it's a wonderful neighborhood, beautiful homes, old homes, wonderful families that live there. This area, you know, the boulevard, crepe myrtles that go across with the creek there. People love to walk around there. They don't even live on our street. They come and walk and enjoy the area. Clearly, a nail salon or some type of business that floods all of its traffic onto our streets is not good for it. Other criteria is to zoning changes to be compatible with the present zoning, conform uses nearby property with the character of the neighborhood. Character of the neighborhood is residential. It's not commercial. It's a different issue than y'all are dealing with, but there is a Green Acres Unit Number 5, which is what this lot is in. There are restrictions to residential only. Can it be changed? Yeah, but by a vote of majority of the lot owners. That's not happened here, and would not happen. But I know that's not y'all's issue, but clearly this is a change that's not consistent with the criteria that you need to be looking at, and I urge you to vote no against this. Thank you.
Thank you for your time and presence. Any questions for this gentleman? If not, yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jake Spivey. Thank you, Commission, for hearing me out. I'm here to, again, voice the same opinions you've heard earlier, that, you know, the vote should go against rezoning this as a C2 lot. There are numerous reasons. I'm going to try to not hit all of the same as others have, but I may have to kind of echo some as well. This would be the only C2 lot, I mean, on the map sent out. showing the zoning. There is no other C2 zones anywhere on this map. As well as they mentioned, C2 is a much wider option for, things that you would not want in your residential neighborhood. They could put a gas station there, the height restrictions. I live at 3710 Birdwell Drive, which is immediately behind the property in question. I'm up on a hill. I can see down into the back. I can see the roof. And I'm surrounded by, very gorgeous, tall holly trees, and I can still see over. So I would be worried about how this would affect property values of my property, and as well, would like to slightly correct the record a little bit. This property has always been residential. It was leased out. It was a rent house. I understand that the owners have had a series of bad luck with that. The POD lot next door was recently sold because trees from that lot fell onto the property, damaged it. The previous owner of that lot did not have insurance, so sold it to a construction company. There is no office on that property as well. It is completely vacant. And those two lots would also be the absolute bottom for drainage down into, from the neighborhood. I'm sure you've driven by on the loop after big heavy rains at some point, and it floods, it sits there for days. Those lots just have water sitting for many, many days after any kind of, non-drizzle. As well as has been mentioned, the entrance would be forced to be on Woodbine. That is a split road that I honestly don't know if it's supposed to be one way on each side. I don't really know if anybody does. And so the congestion from vehicles entering, exiting right there at the intersection, as well as it being such a narrow road combined with, Woodbine and Birdwell are both used very, very often as cut-throughs to get up to Des Charles, to cut down to Broadway, to skip that whole intersection of the Loop and Broadway. That would be very negative for foot traffic, which, as been mentioned, I walk my dog on that road every day. And yeah, that more or less summarizes. You all should have my objection in email that I feel like, clearly states it in probably a lot better words than I'm pulling, off the cuff of my sleeve at the moment. And I'd also like to mention that I do believe that number is incorrect in some way. The neighbor at Brady, Larry Wayne, supposedly had sent in his vote against, and Janine Hughes. The current residents at that property are grandchildren, and they've said that they received no notice. She is currently in a memory care facility, so if a notice would have gone to her, that is probably not the best person for us to go to be taken into consideration. The other thing that I would like to mention is sort of the untimeliness that this was brought. This lot was listed for sale as commercial for weeks before suddenly disappeared. A couple days later, I know this says it was mailed May 16th. I received it, I believe, on the 24th or 25th. And, 9-10 days later, we haven't had this here. I do not feel like there's appropriate notice or time given to collect the signatures as well. Thank you. I believe that's.
Thank you for your time and presence. Any questions for this gentleman? Thank you again. Are there others? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Cindy Kissinger, and my husband and I are here, Kyle. We live at 3401 Woodbine Boulevard, and next month we will have been there 29 years. And the only point that I want to make that hasn't really been brought up, I'm in agreement with everything that has been said, is that when you're looking at that map, it's more of not really traffic, but just turning into that property. You almost have to make almost a U-turn or a very, very sharp turn, which causes you to slow down. And so living there, you know, I'm always watching the cars behind me to make sure, because you're on the loop, that you're not gonna get rear-ended. And so that lot being, if Woodbine is the only in and out, that's gonna be a very hazardous situation, because when you turn, there's not enough room, even at the very, very end of that property, for another car or two cars to be there turning in and out at the same time. You're gonna have to stop on the loop, and that's gonna be very dangerous. And the last point is, the loop right there, the closest red light is Paluxy in the Loop, and we all know what a disaster Paluxy in the Loop is as far as wrecks and everything. So the U-turn is gonna have to be made right there at Paluxy in the Loop. So that would be another increase in a dangerous situation. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Any questions for this lady? Are there others? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Kyle Kissinger. I do live at 3401 Woodbine Boulevard, about 7 houses north of this project. I just wanted to reiterate that I do oppose the rezoning of this. Because it is a boulevard with the split roadways, you might have the perception that it is one way on each side. That is not the case. It is two ways, both sides. That roadbed is only meant for two-way traffic, and it is parking is allowed. So that would just congest that area even more, and that I'm concerned about the congestion and safety.
Thank you for your presence. Any questions? Are there others? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Tony Michael at 3700 Woodbine Boulevard. There's already been others who have represented those that live on Woodbine. I just wanted to be sure that we had good representation. Couple of things, whenever I tell someone that we live on Woodbine, they always know where that is, because it's a boulevard, which I think is a very unique, it's unique to Tyler. The fact that we are in the Pollard Historical Area, which is to be approved, is important. But I also do want to make a comment about the timing of our notice, because we had only a few days. Well, it was recommended that that we respond by the 24th of May, and that was just a few days after we received our notice. And not quite sure I understand the timing of that, and also the time of day. It does make it hard for people who work to come to the meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your presence. Any others? Any questions for city staff? Staff, again, I think we've had a full discussion of this issue. The staff recommendation is to deny. Is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we deny Z25-009. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to deny this application, the zoning change. Any comments? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Application is denied. Next is Z25-014 North Chase Development. Sheila,
Yes, sir.
give us a softball here, will you?
Okay, I think I can do that. Okay, this is a zone change from RMF, multifamily residential, to R1B, single-family residential. Property is located at the southeast intersection of Northeast Loop 323 and North Broadway Avenue. The applicant is requesting the zone change to develop lots for single-family homes. The adjacent properties to the north are C1, Light Commercial District and PMX D1 Planned Mixed Use District and are undeveloped. The adjacent property to the east is zone R1B, Single Family Residential, and is also undeveloped. The adjacent property to the east, to the south, is zone RMF, Multifamily Residential, and is developed with an apartment complex. The adjacent property to the west is zone R1D, Single Family Residential District, and is developed with single-family homes. The future land use guide is, this request is consistent with the Tyler First Land Use Guide, which identifies this property as mixed-use center. The applicant is requesting to develop this property with single-family homes. The general area is developed with apartments, single-family homes, and undeveloped land. So this request would allow for a use that is consistent with the rest of the area. The zone change is consistent with the Tyler First goal to add more residences to the North End planning area. Of the 11 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that the request is generally consistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of the request.
Thank you, Sheila. Any questions for city staff? Mr. Boudreaux, are you representing this applicant?
Yes. My name is Ray Boudreaux. I work with the Brandon Corporation. I'm representing Mr. Ed Thompson today for North Chase. A few years ago, we came to y'all with a zoning change for apartments. The market has changed, and we have decided to go back to a single-family development, R1B. The apartment complex site could have supported up to 216 units. We're going to have in the neighborhood of 38 to 40 single-family residential lots, R1B lots. And they will not have access to Broadway. They'll be accessing off of Maple East Drive, which is presently under construction. And I'm here to answer any questions that y'all may have.
Any questions from Mr. Boudreaux? If not, are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is Commissioner would like to make a motion?
I would move that we approve Z25-014.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Application's approved. Next is Z25-011 Beverly Banks Monroe. Anna?
So this request is for a zone change from RMF, Multifamily Residential District, to R1D, Single Family Detached and Attached Residential. It's located at northwest intersection of Ross Street and Bryan Street. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build 2 single-family homes on the property. The adjacent properties to all adjacent properties are zoned RMF and are either developed with a church, single-family homes, or are undeveloped. The future land use would be amended from single-family medium-low density to single-family attached. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build 2 single-family homes to optimize the buildable space. The applicant is requesting to rezone it to R1D, which would allow them to build it from 25 front, 15 rear, and interior side is 0, and if it's a side corner, it would be 12, which would provide more flexibility for setback requirements. The proposed development aligns with the character of the surrounding neighborhood, where most of the homes are suited on similar sized lots. This request would accomplish the Tyler First goal of adding more housing in the north end. Of the 17 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor or in opposition to the request, and staff has performed a technical review and finds that it is consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the request.
Thank you, Anna. Any questions for city staff? If not, is there somebody here representing the applicant? Yes, ma'am. Would you come to the microphone, please? State your name and address for the record.
Yesenia Lopez, 318 East 3rd Street in Tyler, Texas. We're just wanting to rezone it so we're able to build two small homes because a multifamily, it's zoned multifamily, but it doesn't fit a multifamily on there to meet the city requirements.
Maybe this might be a city staff recommendation. You're close to the church. Are there setback issues, or we're going to be okay? Yes.
It's just, yeah, it'll be okay. The building setback would be 15 feet from the church.
Okay.
Probably more so. I guess I can't see where the church is. Can you go back? Yeah, the minimum setback is 15 feet from the west property line, so should be okay.
Any questions for the applicant or city staff? If not, thank you for your presence. Are there others who would like to speak on this item? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve Z25-011.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item's approved. Next is Z25-015, College Hill Baptist Church.
So this request is a zone change as well. It is currently zoned R1B, which is our single-family residential, and C1 light commercial district. They want to rezone it to R2, which is our two-family residential duplex district. It is located north of the intersection of Hillcrest Avenue and Chandler Street. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build duplex for senior citizens. The adjacent properties to the north, south, and west are zoned R2 and C1 and are developed with a church and single-family homes. The adjacent properties to the east are zoned R2, C1, and R1B single-family residential district and are developed with single-family homes. The future land use would be amended from single-family medium-low density to single-family and single-family attached. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build the duplexes for senior citizens to accommodate this project. The property will be subdivided to allow for construction of 7 to 8 duplexes. Currently, the site has a split zone designation including C1, R1B, and R2. The applicant aims to establish unified zoning across the property to ensure compliance with the proposed duplex development. This request would accommodate the Tyler First goal of adding more housing to the north end. Of the 24 notices, no notices were returned in favor and one was returned in opposition to the request. No explanation was noted for the opposition. Staff has performed a technical review and finds that it is consistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of the request.
All right, thanks. Any question for city staff? We're zoning the entire green area, and the last time I was there, there's not any structures there. There have been in the past, but not any now.
There's no structures now.
So we won't have a site plan or anything on this one?
Are there any questions for city staff? If not, are there persons here who'd like to speak on this item for or against? Yes, sir. Mr. Ryder? Come tell us a story.
My name is Jesse Ryder, and I'm speaking in favor of rezoning our plats. We presently have 3 different zones on our property. The one on Houston Street is zoned as light commercial, and the one on the Confederate Street is zoned as R2, and we like to plat them all to R2.
Any questions for Mr. Ryder? Thank you, Jesse. Good to see you here. And are there others who'd like to speak on this item? Yes, sir.
to this, Mr. Chair, and to this commission. My name is Rodney Curry. For the record, I'm the pastor of College Hill Missionary Baptist Church, along with other members here, and I'm in favor of what Deacon Jesse Ryder said, as well as moving to this commission to move to make the recommendation that this property be rezoned.
We appreciate your time and presence. Are there others? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve this zoning change. Commissioner, would like to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move to approve Z25-015.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this zoning change. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Good luck with your project. Next. Why didn't I get through that response earlier? I mean, I've been here for days. We'll wait for the. That's why we're here, to make people happy. The next item on our agenda is PD 25-007, Jenico West Mud Creek, LLC. Yes.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We have a zone change from R1A Single Family Residential to PUR Planned Unit Residential. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build single family detached homes within a gated entry and private street. The adjacent properties to the north are zoned PUR Planned Unit Residential and are developed with single-family homes. The properties to the west are zoned PXR, Planned Mixed Residential District, and are developed with single-family homes. And the property to the south is zoned PMXD1, Planned Mixed Use District, and is currently undeveloped. The request is consistent with the future land use guide, identifies this property as single-family, medium, low density. The PUR site plan proposes 7 detached homes accessed from a gated private street. The proposed building heights and setbacks are consistent with R1A standards. Of the 15 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor or in opposition to the request. All other departments have reviewed the application, and anticipate no significant impact on services and facilities by the proposed rezoning request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that it is generally consistent with the approval criteria, and staff recommends approval of the zone change.
Thank you. Any questions for city staff? Thank you, Hunter. Are there others who'd like to speak on this item? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for today and for hearing me. I know it's been a long one for y'all. So yes, my name's Chris.
We get paid by the hour.
Oh, good. Well, I'll try to be easy on the taxpayers. My name is Chris McNerney, and I represent the Jenico Group. And kind of reiterate, we are trying to rezone this property from R1A to PUR. The reason for our rezone request is to exclusively develop single-family detached homes with a private street and a gated entrance that will follow the Legacy Bend development and continuity that is already existing. The Jenico Group has reached out to our residents via email in the area and also did not have any response, neither for to or opposed. So if there's any other questions, I'm here to answer those.
I don't know who the question's for necessarily, but with the cul-de-sac, I mean, fire trucks, emergency vehicles, plenty of room to turn around and get in and out, et cetera.
Yes, it meets the minimum turnaround requirement.
Thanks.
Will Holly Tree be extended there?
Currently, we have there with this project, no, sir, it will not.
All right, thanks. Any other questions? If not, are there others who would like to speak on this item for or against? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve Z 25-010.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item is approved. Next is Z 25-010, Heritage Baptist Church of Tyler. Hunter?
Yes, sir. We have a zone change from R1A Single Family Residential District to C1 Light Commercial District. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build a medical clinic and surgery center. The adjacent properties to the north and west are zoned C1 Light Commercial District and are developed with commercial uses. The properties to the east are zoned PUR, Planned Unit Residential, and are developed with single-family homes. The properties to the south are zoned C1 Light Commercial District and RPO, Restricted Professional Office District, and are developed with a business and an office. The request is consistent with the future land use guide, which identifies this property as General Commercial District. Of the 16 notices mailed, no notices were returned in favor of the request, and 5 notices were returned in opposition, with a total protest calculation of 17.01%. The opposition cited concerns with the property being developed as commercial and potential impacts on noise and traffic in the area. I did speak to the applicant. The church is under contract to be sold. It will be an eye clinic, an ophthalmologist clinic. The existing church will be completely remodeled and turned into an eye clinic. With that, all other departments have reviewed the application and anticipate no significant impact on services and facilities by the proposed rezoning request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds it is generally consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the zone change.
Thanks. Any questions for city staff? Thank you, Hunter.
Do the stars mean
Yeah.
protest?
Correct.
Before?
Yes.
Yeah, they came in this, last night or this morning, so.
Mr. Boudreaux, you represent these folks?
My name is Ray Boudreaux. I work with the Brandon Corporation, and I'm representing Heritage Baptist Church. Also with me today is Mr. Brad Newberry, and he's representing the potential buyer, which is the eye doctor, the ophthalmologist. They're planning on using existing structure and just remodel it into a doctor's office. The church, even though it's a church and zoned R1A, basically it's been a commercial use for the past 40 years with a large parking lot, and we're planning to utilize that for our medical office. Anything that we need to do as far as buffer yards with C1 zoning abutting residential, we're planning on doing that when we turn in our remodeling permit. There will be a buffer yard along the north-south street to separate that commercial property from the existing PUR townhomes. I don't know why Mr. Womble protested to the north. He owns a automotive shop, and will definitely be less obtrusive than an automotive repair shop to the north of us. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. So.
Yeah, you answered my question. They're not going to demolish the building.
No, we're not.
They're
We're going to
remodeling.
remodel the existing church and use it the way, we're not going to start from scratch.
Could we see the aerial again, Kyle? Thanks.
So if you look at that aerial between the parking lot and we've got some green space that we'll be able to use as a plant, additional shrubs and bushes to use as a buffer yard.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Boudreaux?
And also, we're not planning on asking for any more driveways on the Broadway. We'll access off the existing streets the way they are.
Cambridge and Townhouse?
Townhouse, exactly.
All right, any questions for Mr. Boudreaux? Yes, ma'am. Would you come to the microphone, please?
My name is Martha Thorpe, and I live at 205 Heritage Circle, which I would be like in the second townhouse down.
You're
there.
inside the cul-de-sac there?
Yeah, yes, inside the cul-de-sac. And I did want to state that my house is kind of weird. My west wall is the same as my neighbor's fence, and it's the same all the way down on that side of the street and on the other side of the street. Plus, we have rear entry garages, so there's really no place for children to play. And my big thing was the safety thing, but I understood that he said he was not going to ask for any more entrances. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And also that they were going to maintain the green space buffer. Is that correct? Okay, then I have no objection. I did not understand that. I thought, I wasn't sure what was going to be.
That's why we have these hearings, for the public to be informed, and we're grateful that you took the time to come and be with us.
Oh, well, I'm just glad nothing's going to be changed, because there are children who play in the cul-de-sac, and if there were entrances changed, that could be a real problem, because people would come down there and, you know, everybody misses the entrance and exit to things. And that's the only place these children have to play because of the way the alley situation is, because we have rear entry garages on both sides of the cul-de-sac. So that's where the children play. And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much for being here. Are there others who would like to speak on this item? Yes, sir.
I am Toby Foster, Remax Tyler, here to represent Randy Womble at his request. Unfortunately, he could not be here today. He intended to come and has submitted his opposition. Unfortunately, he does not want to change the zoning. He's on the property, the two properties north of this subject property for many years, since I guess the 70s, late 70s, and built the property just north and still owns the adjoining land north of there. But anyway, wants to keep it R1 and just really is opposed to changing it. He's, you know, watched everything change there over the years, and would like to keep it as it is, and asked me to be present here for him.
Any questions for this gentleman? If not, we thank you for your time and presence. Thank you for being
Yes,
here.
thank you.
Are there others? If not, the staff recommendation is to approve. Is there a commissioner who'd like to make a motion?
Yes. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve Z25-010.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item is approved. Next is Z25-013 SRK Group LLC.
Yes, sir. We have a zone change from RMF multifamily to C2 to C2 commercial district. The applicant is requesting the zone change to build a motel. The adjacent properties to the north and east are zoned M1 light industrial district and is vacant and commercially used. Respectfully, the adjacent properties to the south and west are zoned C2 and are developed with commercial uses. The Tyler First Land Use Guide identifies the property as multifamily. The request would amend the future land use guide to general commercial, which is consistent with the area. The property was previously used as a dormitory. The applicant plans to convert it to a motel hotel lodging and will be required to meet all applicable codes and standards. Of the 5 notices mailed, 2 notices were returned in favor of the request, and none were returned in opposition. All other departments have reviewed the application and anticipate no significant impact on services and facilities by the proposed rezoning request. Staff has performed a technical review of the request and finds that it is generally consistent with the approval criteria. Staff recommends approval of the zone change.
Thank you, Hunter. Any questions for city staff?
I do. Do we know how many units are there? Or there will be once remodeled?
No.
Is there anyone here representing the applicant?
I'll keep my questions.
I thought that was a nursing home, one before it was a dorm. Is that just a long time ago? College. Any other questions for city staff that they can answer? No. No person here to speak. The city recommendation is to approve, the staff recommendation is to approve. Any commissioner like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve item Z25-013.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve this item. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item is approved. What time? That's my next question. At this time, the commission will stand in recess pending a workshop across the street.